will be in a YouTube video. Okay, say hi. Why does everyone always ask how many licks does it take to get the center of a Tootsie Pop, but never a blow pop? Like, have we ever done that study? Because I want to start it. Okay, so I'm Maddie. I guess I'm just going to jump right into it. I'm going to be sharing my story about my struggles with mental illness and eating disorder recovery. This is going to be harder than I thought it would be. So this is Tater Tot. He's my dog. He's my emotional support animal. I've had him for 2 years now. I got him the first time I went into treatment for my eating disorder. So I guess we'll just start with that. My eating disorder story is kind of interesting. I was a really sick kid. I was allergic to casein and lactose, but I didn't know for a very long time. So I was really sick every day, and I didn't know why. I also had ulcerative colitis, and no one diagnosed me with that until I was about 14 years old. So I was sick to my stomach all the time. Food just hurt, and I started having a hatred for foods because I just feared them. I was afraid that they'd make me sick. Tater Tot's laying down now. He's gotten tired of it. I was always really underweight as a kid. I just wasn't absorbing nutrients because I had ulcerative colitis, and with that, a lot of times your intestines are not able to absorb the nutrients from your food. So I was really underweight. I was trying all these medications for ulcerative colitis once I found out that I had it, and nothing was working. So we decided to go to a holistic doctor because we had heard that sometimes certain diets could make a difference. This holistic doctor was probably the worst decision I ever made. She told me I was allergic to about 40 foods. So I went on a really strict diet, and I started being really orthorexic. I became a personal trainer. Everyone was applauding me. I was doing so well. I got huge muscles, like just big. People used to call me quad pads. That probably led to my eating disorder. I remember being really insecure about that. So I was really into working out and eating right. Can't even say that. That is so not eating right, okay? That's just not. So I was doing that for a while, and then I went off to college. And in college, I couldn't afford to go to Whole Foods and buy ghee and like goat's milk and goat's yogurt and whatever the fuck I was eating that was just so ridiculous. My orthorexia turned into anorexia. I stopped eating because I was so afraid of food. I was so afraid of gluten. I was so afraid of dairy. I was so afraid of red meat. I was just so terrified to get sick that I stopped eating. I thought that was the answer. I dropped weight pretty rapidly. I'm not going to ever mention any numbers on this channel. I don't think that's helpful. I think it encourages other people's eating disorders, and that's never my goal here. So I dropped weight pretty rapidly, but I was off at college. I was at Auburn University freshman year. I was having a lot of fun until second semester. My eating disorder had really taken hold over winter break. I don't really know what the cause of that was. I guess it was just once you're not eating for a while, that gets stronger and stronger each time you decide not to eat. I came back to school. I was at a really low weight, and I was going to the gym every day anyways because I missed my muscle. I had a really toxic boyfriend at the time who said I used to be more attractive when I was muscular and whatever. I was not eating. I was isolating from all my friends. Everyone was like, "What is wrong with you?" I just said, "I'm probably sick with ulcerative colitis." It was such an easy excuse to use. It's hard to look back on this stuff. So yeah, I was really sick, and that whole semester I didn't eat. I struggled in my courses more than I ever had before. I had a 4.0 the first semester. I think the second semester I came out with a 3.5. It leveled out to like a 3.75. When I went home, my parents were shocked. They immediately noticed that I looked emaciated. I was not doing well. They could tell at dinners and meals, like I wouldn't eat. I would eat a very small amount. I would want to eat in my room. I had a big thing about eating in private. I was 19 at the time. So I just told them it was my ulcerative colitis. I had no idea that I had ever had orthorexia. I had no idea that I had anorexia. I thought, you know what, it's a stomach problem. Like, it's not mental. So I went to my doctor, and he immediately hospitalized me. He said, "This is crazy, like you've dropped X amount of pounds. It doesn't make sense, like you must be really sick." I was in the hospital for like 6 days. I got a PICC line inserted to feed me intravenously. I'll insert a photo there. And they did a procedure to see how bad my colitis was. I had like a colonoscopy done, and it showed that it wasn't bad enough for the amount of weight that I had lost. So suddenly I'm sitting in my hospital room thinking, oh my god, like this ulcerative colitis is just really kicking my ass. And the doctor comes in, and it's a psychiatrist with him. And he's like, "Can I talk to you?" And I'm like, "Sure, why? Like, I'm fine." Hi baby, you coming back to the video? So basically, he was like, "Listen, you're not going to leave this hospital until you eat a certain amount of calories that they had set for me." They still had my PICC line in, but I was getting food as well, and I just wasn't eating it because I was complaining about my stomach. Like, "We're gonna keep you here until then." He was like, "Do you think you have a problem with eating?" And I was like, "No, like, I'm just, bye." I was like, I'm just sick. Like, this is crazy. Like, I don't know where you get off thinking that I have some sort of eating disorder. Like, that's ridiculous. Whatever. I was very opposed to it. I never actually ate the amount of calories he wanted me to eat before I left the hospital, but they discharged me. I went home. My toxic ex was really manipulative, and it was just making everything worse. He was upset that, I don't know, he was upset about so many things. So I started getting really bad depression. I hid in my room. I just read all day. I wouldn't eat anything except for like quinoa puffs. I don't know if you know what those are. They're horrible. Like, just eat potato chips. Like, why was I torturing myself? So I just sat in the room all day in darkness, and I just read books. They set me up with a therapist because they assumed I was depressed. And the therapist was actually really disordered. She would eat quinoa puffs with me. She told me that she also had a lot of restrictions on her diet because her stomach, she had Crohn's, and she believed that she also couldn't eat anything. So that just made everything worse, because then I was like, oh, like, see, I don't have a problem. Like, she does it too. And she was super thin, and I thought, well, if a mental health professional looks like this, then it can't be an issue. So anyways, at one point I ended up telling her that I really needed help. I was really depressed. She sent me straight to the psych ward because it was like a Friday and they couldn't get me into an eating disorder unit yet, but she didn't trust me to be at home by myself. So I went to the psych ward for the weekend. That was an interesting experience. I was terrified. I was 19. I was really young to be in an adult facility. I was really scared. I was all alone. I was really upset because I thought I'd disappoint my family. And it wasn't my first experience with psych wards. My mother is bipolar, so I'll get into that in a different video. But yeah, I was really terrified. And in psych wards, they're not equipped to help people with eating disorders. They just they just marked down what I ate off my plate, and it was a ridiculous amount that I would eat. And they wouldn't do anything about it. They wouldn't try to get me to eat. They wouldn't encourage me. They would just watch. So on Monday, I was transferred to an eating disorder facility in the hospital because I was not medically stable to be in a residential facility yet. So I went to the hospital. Tater Tot, you trying to play with the Gatorade bottle? I'm ridiculously obsessed with Gatorade, so my dog likes to always play with the bottles after I finish them. That's just our thing. So anyways, I was sent to a hospital in New Jersey with an eating disorder unit. They wheeled me in on my bed, and they set me up, and I was so angry. I just remember being so angry. Like, I was mad at everyone. I didn't have an eating disorder. You guys are ridiculous. Like, let me go home. Like, I'm sick. Like, I can't be here. And when they told me they were going to take away my books, I lost it. Like, I lost it on this poor nurse. Like, I'm not normally like that. I mean, I definitely get angry, but not the way that I do when I'm sick. It was really just out of proportion amount of anger towards this lady, and it was all just getting unleashed on her. I came after dinner had already finished, and I was hungry. And I was like, oh, I'm hungry. Like, give me something to eat. Like, and they were like, dinner's over. And I was like, I'm in an eating disorder unit. I'm in an eating disorder unit, and you're not gonna feed me? Like, are you kidding? I was so mad. And then they offered me something, and I was like, ew, no, like, I'm not gonna eat that. So I ended up spending a month in the hospital, I was able to put on the amount of weight I needed to be medically stable to leave to go to outpatient. And then I went to outpatient. I got to keep my same team, which was really cool. This hospital also had an outpatient part of it. So I went to the outpatient. I ate enough to get out. I got out and I thought, awesome, like I'm all better, like so proud of myself, like wow, I did it, like I'll never have to do that again, like I just want to get back to living my life. In this time there was a lot of drama going on with my toxic boyfriend that I'll get into in a different video, and he ended up breaking it with me over the hospital phone, blocking me on all of social media, telling everyone back home that I was psychotic, and it was just really horrible. I couldn't do anything about it. So I came out of treatment, and yes, I was eating, okay? I was surviving. I wasn't killing myself anymore, but I wasn't better in any sense of the word. I was depressed. I was upset. I was lost. I wasn't able to go back to Auburn. My parents didn't trust me to go back to school, so I had to go and transfer to Rutgers. So I had like a semester off. After I got out of the hospital, I didn't go straight back to school. I went to community college and took like 2 courses and just worked on my, keeping myself healthy and well and working. So then came spring semester. I went back to Rutgers. I went there for a year and everything was good. Then something really unfortunate happened in the fall semester of 2018, and it really set me back in my recovery. After this event, like, I stopped eating again. I resorted back to all of my old behaviors, and I knew I was doing it, but in my mind I was like, I can stop it, like, I don't need help. Just thinking about that, I want to yell at myself, you need help, like, go now, like, don't wait until it's back to where it was before. But I did wait. I had to leave before the end of fall semester of 2018 and go home to my parents, so they knew I was struggling, but I didn't admit that I was struggling as much as I was because I wanted to go back to school. I didn't want to deal with my eating disorder again. I thought I had it under control. I thought I had my eating disorder under control. It's just so ridiculous. So I went back to school and I went back to all my old behaviors. I was working as an EMT at the time, and I remember lifting patients. I would just feel so faint, like every time, like I would just, like I almost, like that's so dangerous. It's so dangerous. So before the end of spring semester, about like 2 months before the end of spring semester, I went to my psychiatrist and I was like, I just started bawling. I was like, I'm not doing well. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should go back to treatment. Like, I'm terrified to tell my parents. And he set me up on a new regimen of medications because I had stopped taking my medications too. Like, I just did everything wrong. But that's how it goes when you're dealing with mental illness. Honestly, like, it doesn't make sense. Like, your mind doesn't make sense. So after that appointment, I was like, I need to go back to treatment. He recommended it. He said, you need to go back to the hospital. Like, so I called the next day. I woke up early as possible, and I called them right when they opened, and I said, hey, I went to my psychiatrist, and he thinks that I need to come back. And my psychiatrist worked at the hospital, so I don't know, it all worked out. So they said they set me up with an intake for later that week, and then I had to call my parents and tell them, hey, I gotta go back to treatment. I went back to the hospital. They admitted me for like 2 weeks this time, and I got medically stable enough to go to outpatient, but this time my parents had moved to Florida, so I went to outpatient in Florida, and I was so angry. I was done dealing with my eating disorder. I was like over myself. I was like, you know what, I don't care, like I'm fine. Like, I had another toxic boyfriend at the time, and he was upset that I had to go back to treatment, and he was like, you're fine, like you don't need to do that, like you're being dramatic, whatever. So I went back to treatment, and I was there for 6 months. I actually just discharged today, so that's exciting. Today was my last day of treatment. I'm doing so much better. So I discharged today, but the first about, I would say, 2 months of treatment, I just fought them tooth and nail. I would just not eat anything that they had offered. I was like, this is all disgusting, like so gross. Like, they had you prep your own meals, which horrified me because in the hospital, it was hospital food, so it came up prepared. I was horrified that I'd have to prep my own meals. We picked our own snacks. I was disgusted. Like, I had so much anxiety. I was there every day from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. until I'd stepped down to IOP. And yeah, it was just really hard. Like, I was so angry. But suddenly something switched in my mind. My therapist is a saint. She never gave up on me. She fought tooth and nail for me. She said, you can do it, you can do it. She just did not give up. I gave her so much shit. Like, she's an angel. So yeah, I mean, it's been a really hard journey. I had a few ARFID things that I was dealing with along with anorexia, a few things about textures and certain foods that I had trauma links with. So it was a really hard process getting to where I am today. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm 100% better and I don't need to be working on this anymore, because I do. And there were a lot of things I found out about myself mental health wise that I was diagnosed with that now helps me understand myself better and my eating disorder better. But I want to get into that in another video, because I actually haven't opened up about that to anyone except for like my family and a few friends. So we'll see how this one goes. But yeah, now I enjoy food. I love certain foods. I look forward to certain foods. I do not restrict anything. I eat everything in balanced variety and moderation. All foods fit. I don't count calories. I don't think about that. I'm not over exercising. I'm not personal training until I flop. It's just such a different experience coming out this time versus last time. I just know so much more about myself, and I'm so glad that I went back when I did, because I needed to. I didn't know everything. I thought I did. I thought one and done in treatment. I thought I was a superstar. Everyone made me think like, ooh, like I did treatment better than anyone could ever do it. Turns out that is part of my mental illness that I deal with. So I don't know. I just wish the people I'd gone to in the first place had caught on to these things for me, because it was really hard. I mean, I really didn't know what I was dealing with. So now I'm out of treatment, but I'm really passionate about, and I have become really passionate about, body positivity, diet culture. You can't even get me started on diet culture. So I wanted to make this YouTube channel because I want to share how wrong all these people are that talk about how you need to be on diets and keto and all this stuff. Like, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And it makes me angry, and it makes my ed pop up. And the only way I can combat that is by speaking my truth and speaking facts that my dietitian has taught me, that I've learned. I used to be in school to be a dietitian. I'm not anymore, but I do have a lot of knowledge about this stuff, and I'm really passionate about getting out of recovery and truly learning to live with the weight that your body's comfortable at, eating what you want, when you want, listening to your hunger cues, your fullness cues. So yeah, I really hope you guys will follow me along on this journey. I'm not sure how it will go. I'm very uncomfortable, but I'm like talking about this on here, but I'm very open about this. Everyone in my life knows about my struggles with my eating disorder. I have a blog that I post on. I post a lot of body positive and anti-diet culture stuff on my Instagram, and I'm just really passionate about it. So I want to bring it to YouTube because I feel like there are, unfortunately, a lot of people that go through eating disorder recovery and come out still disordered eating, like still thinking there are a difference between good foods and bad foods, which there's not. There's no difference. All foods fit. And so I just want to bring that perspective to YouTube. And if you guys want to follow along, please do. Like, I'm super passionate about this stuff. Like, I want to bring you guys so much and like let you follow along on my journey and be really open with you about my mental health struggles and my family struggles and things that have happened in my life that have gotten me where I am today, because I'm an open book. I'm not ashamed anymore. I choose not to be ashamed because I think there's no value in that. And if I can help just one person on here that is struggling with mental health of any kind, with an eating disorder, I have been through so much. And I know a lot. I really do. So I just want to bring this to you guys. And I don't know everything. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a dietitian. I'm just a girl with a lot of experience here, and I just want to help. So please follow along with me. And if you like this video, please like, subscribe. I don't know if I just pointed in the right ways. I'm acting like I know YouTube. Please like, subscribe, and comment below. And, comment your pro-recovery channels or your pro recovery Facebooks or Instagrams or whatever. I want to see it. I love it. I love it. So please follow along. Let me know if you like this video in the comments, if what you want to see from me next. I have a lot of directions I want to go with this, but I hope this helps, and I hope you guys get a little glimpse of me in some way. I don't know. But yeah, I'm just a really awkward, fun-loving, passionate person